Hi, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Pints and Ports. Today we have Julian, as usual, and special guest, IT legend Michael Lawrie. Do you want to say hi, Michael?
Hello. That's it. Short intro.
As they're meant to be.
Yes, I'm good at this.
I mean, you're
Uh,
not in and around Americans most of the time, so it doesn't need to be a long, drawn out. This was my day as of me waking up and getting to this call.
Most of my day has been trying to set up my stupid little earbuds for Dave because apparently it was echoing.
Are you on a Windows machine?
I am.
There it is. Windows audio. How long has OS been around now? 30 some odd years, and audio is still poorly managed.
So is focus. But don't stop me ranting on that. That's a 10-hour rant.
Actually, I would like this because so I had a talk with my friend a couple of nights ago because someone brought up like the Netscape Internet Explorer battle and why we have JavaScript running the way it is and how event and focus works on the web. And he was trying to figure out how to do things on Windows. Like, hey, how come I can, move my cursor to another monitor where a window is and scroll, but focus isn't there when I want to like up the volume on that tab or whatever. And it's like different events to track differently.
I think the summary of my whine is you say it's been around for 38 years and they still haven't managed to stop Windows taking focus off you. So when a pop-up appears that say, do you want to cancel this installation after 45 minutes? And you're typing somewhere else, you say, yes.
See,
I love Windows otherwise.
I understand the beauty of certain experience implementations, like to confirm or, hit the big button that's in focus, which is generally the CTA. You hit either the space bar or the enter bar because those are the two biggest and most commonly used. But when you're typing somewhere and a pop-up comes up and you're hitting either space or enter, you don't want to confirm. And they definitely never throw up a confirmation dialogue after, because if it's something they want you to do, they're going to make you do it.
Crimea River, focus issues.
The blind guy who needs to wait for the audio prompt.
Yeah.
The focus issues with screen readers that aren't voiceover on Mac are insane.
Well, that's because you don't have a thing called... and I'm not being sarcastic, it's going to sound that way, but you don't have peripheral vision. So like everything on a screen reader needs to be linear, unfortunately. And depending on the software, the linearness of a screen reader is defined by their studies and their findings and how to implement their screen readers.
Yeah, but sometimes you'll get a dialog box pop up, say, over your Microsoft Word document, and the interceptor driver won't have picked up or won't have flagged it as being there. So you can type like 3 or 4 more paragraphs before you realize that nothing is being inputted because it's waiting for you to deal with the dialog box you didn't fucking know about.
But okay, that's weird because like that's an OS level thing typically. So that's an event that's emitted. It shouldn't be a driver level thing. It should just be like a regular API. Like, screen readers don't see what's on the screen. It sees what's in the code. Like, how does it not catch that?
Don't know, but it doesn't. Not always. Usually it does, but if you're on a typing roll, it won't notice it for some reason.
Is Windows API that poor for implementation? Like, that's insane.
It is for some things, yes.
I can't use Windows anymore. I've got a Windows PC set up for Bingo to use, and my wife.
You call her Bingo for this? You couldn't choose like a name that was just like a 1950s woman's name, like Audrey or something. You had to use Bingo.
No, Bingo is my child.
I thought you said wife just now.
For Bingo and my wife to use.
I'm confused. I'm going to drink more.
Yeah,
my child is called Bingo on the internet.
Okay.
That's why I said Bingo. For Bingo and my wife to use, I have a Windows computer.
Oh.
And occasionally things will go wrong and I have to sort it out. And the Mac shortcut keys, like the whole shortcut key environment is completely different. So I just can't use a Windows keyboard anymore because apparently I only have room for one operating system in my brain.
Dave, were you on a Windows machine by chance when Windows 8.5, aka Metro, was around? Because I want to know the accessibility of Windows Metro UI.
Windows 8, I don't remember Windows Metro.
It was a tile-based interface that was meant for mobile, carried to desktop.
Yeah, wasn't it similar to Pocket Windows?
It's similar to what you would make in the toilet at 7:30 in the morning. I've been a designer now for 12 years. Metro came out before that. And the first time I saw it, I was like, how much does some team get paid to make this?
I do remember it now. I'd blanked it out. We just used to call it tiles. That's why.
And the funny thing is, to navigate tiles like that, if you're sighted, it's easy. If you're not, I don't know what the order of operations is, because there was no logical order of operations visually to how those tiles worked. Some things were bigger, some things were smaller. In an orientation that was either organized by landscape or portrait, I couldn't tell.
I hung on to Windows XP until Windows 7. No, Windows 8, I think. Like it was way out of support by the time I switched over.
And software was proper software, not just a Chromium wrapper. Here's a question for you. While I am not in cybersecurity at all, you're a legend. My question is, how do you feel about, like, I want to say like a good chunk of the 80% bell curve there now that is an application for your device, either mobile or otherwise, is a Chromium wrapped thing.
Before you answer that, can I just interrupt you? There's probably 20% of people watching who will know exactly who you are. And the others probably won't.
Fuck 'em.
I know this will inconvenience you, but if you wouldn't mind just bringing people up to speed.
I don't know. I've gone through phases of being famous and obscure. And luckily for the last 20 odd years, I've been completely obscure in the social media age, which I'm perfectly happy with. And so I started off in what would be now social media circles back in 84-ish, 85-ish. So I was running all the MUDs. Now, Britain is weird that Britain was well ahead of everyone else at that time. Finland was sort of catching up, but Britain was well ahead. We had all the online games, we had everything, and we had on the online bulletin boards. So I ended up running all those. I don't know how. I've got to think about that one day because somebody wants me to write about it. But I still, to this day, don't know how I managed to end up taking over all of those. But I mean, if you look at things like MUD and then IRC, when IRC came out of Finland, that went to VJ's machine. And I forgot why that was. It was Virginia, actually. Yeah, it went on to Virginia. So I ended up cooperating that with him, but I hated it, so I didn't go back for 2 years. And I you got to remember those days it was numeric channels like a CB on IRC, so it wasn't actually that interesting. And everybody spoke Finnish, so that also didn't help. It was not the most interesting place in the world. I went back after a couple of years, decided I quite liked it, but by that time I was also becoming a hacker catcher. So I had the fame from the first time of being a big fish in a small pond, I guess, of running everything. So that was when I started getting my death threats and everything, because people don't like the way people run something. And if you're the one person who runs everything, that's not good. But I'm actually kind of cool. I'm benevolent dictator on that sort of thing, and people can do whatever they want as long as they don't piss off everybody else. So
since when did the British care about that?
Well, I'm a working class Brit, so I mean we're kind of the victims in this. So I kind of switched it a bit, and bearing in mind everybody else at university at that time was probably not a working class Brit, so A bit of payback there. What happened? I don't know what happened after that. Hacker Catcher stuff. I got a bit famous at that point because of the Dan Mitnick case, which I ended up working on for a long time, which I think Dave wants to talk to me about another time. Then went back into obscurity, working for digital for a while, working for another bunch of companies. Then got chronic fatigue and had to start working online. So I ended up doing moderation for a bunch of different companies, BBC, Economist, things like that. Then went into the dating site world, spent the last 10 years working for Match Group, and then became a whistleblower, which again got me infamous. And now I'm hiding from camera crews because everybody seems to want me to do interviews about that, which, I don't know, there's only so much I can say. I mean, even though I'm skipped some of my NDA and I am talking about a lot that went on internally, a lot of the stuff I know about is about victims. And I can't talk about those ethically because they've got families, they're people who don't want talking about, there's legal cases that they've got going on. So it's hard to talk about that, and I have to be really careful on camera about what I accidentally say.
Luckily for you, I am a father of a daughter, and Dave is severely ethical, so any mentions will be edited out, and those playing the home game, we will not be interviewing him because we're here to hang out and talk tech, not, harangue him for dating site back-end security crap or anything that he touched, because that's not pleasant to talk about, and as a father, not pleasant to hear.
I had a great interview. I was telling Dave about this earlier. I had a great interview with an Australian TV company last weekend, and they heard I had cattle dogs, so they decided that they wanted to film some B-reel of me on the beach with cattle dogs.
He told me this earlier, and now I'm going to laugh again.
They only sent one cameraman, and it was a 3-shot setup, me walking along a beach with dogs. So you had to have front, back, and side at the dog eye view.
On the beach, where there's sand, to show where you've been walking. No, so with one guy...
It was rocks, luckily. No, it was rocks. You're safe. Oh. One guy, one sound guy. Yeah, but I had to walk back and do every single shot 3 times. And the dogs, of course, don't want to do this. They want to go and piss about and run around on the beach.
Yeah. That's like sending me to a 19-story tech mall and asking me to walk down the same aisle 5 fucking times. Like, yes. No, dude.
But they were so well behaved. And they're not well behaved dogs. They're fucking assholes. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I mean, they're cattle dogs. They're working dogs. They wanna get that energy out. We did that to them.
So yes, but that was fun. Otherwise, the interview was actually really good. I enjoyed that one, and it wasn't live.
What was the one you did the other week? Oh, by the way, when I say the other week, it could be any time between now and 10 years ago.
I'm the same.
That's how time works for me now.
I am perpetually stuck in 2019.
Perpetually stuck in 1987.
Everything for me is now before or after the pandemic, or before and after I left college. Those are the time periods I have.
Yeah, I never aged people either. So people I met when they were 25 in 1980s are still 25 in my brain, and I can't get it over. It's weird. Can't age people.
Yeah,
that is really weird for me, especially because I've got 2 much younger brothers.
Too much.
Quantity or temporally?
One's too much.
I have 3 younger brothers, but 2 of them are much, much younger. And I remember like their friends when they were sort of 3 or 4 coming around to the house. And I met a couple of them at a wedding the other day, and they're all adults with kids. And I was like, my brain's like, but Max, you're 4 years old. What's going on here?
Yeah.
He's like 23 now,
I have a cousin that was born when I was 10 years old. And I kind of grew up as he was growing up, literally raising him too. Not like all the way raising him, just like, tossing him around the living room. He showed up to my wedding, and in my head, he's still the same age as when I had left to move here. So I went out to all the bar areas and told every bartender that our site had hired. I was like, There's this kid. He's going to look like this. You don't serve him. He was 23 at that point. And when he was like, hey, I'm trying to get a beer, man. Like, why isn't anyone serving me? I'm like, because you're underage, asshole. Julian, I'm 23. Like, fuck. So in the middle of my wedding, I had to go around and tell everyone, like, I fucked up. Because this kid is still a kid to me. He's an adult now. Apparently a good one now. Apparently he's playing basketball for some large team that I don't follow.
That's one good thing about Britain, is the lack of drinking age, which I was like. I got blind drunk at my mother's wedding and I was about 9. Giving me sherry.
Sherry is dangerous. Sherry is like candy.
It's sweet and it's small.
It's like honey.
Yeah.
But that's a beautifully, like, it's the duality of residual sugar, isn't it? It's so good tasting, but it'll fuck you up so fast. Especially when you're 9. So, Chromium wrapped apps, essentially web developed apps that have no low level code and a lot of, shall we say, holes in the Swiss cheese.
See,
how do you feel?
I'm an old systems programmer on VMS, so my life is systems programming and being aware of every single instruction I'm using. And just the concept of using app libraries terrifies me. So, I mean, before we even get to Chromium wrapped, just somebody using a library that they haven't vetted and hasn't been completely and utterly, you don't know every bit of line and code in there and you're sticking with it and it's never changing. So you can imagine what I think about anything that you don't have absolute control over. And in my early days, I spent years trying to get people to write safety or code with safety by design in it. So stick to these things. And looking at VMS, VMS started using more and more libraries in its stuff, and it started becoming more and more insecure. And
I wonder why.
VMS was all right. It was fairly secure. That was the problem, because people trusted it to be secure. So banks and everything, we're going to get the secure operating system. But then they started writing in higher and higher level code, and it went off the rails, and they didn't know what they were using, and there were just security holes everywhere. So, yeah, based on fact, my ethos is not even use any libraries unless they're systems libraries. Then, yeah, I do not agree with any of it. But at the same time, buyer beware, if you know that it's likely to be secure, I use the password hello on just about everything, because if there's going to be a security breach, there's going to be a security breach. So I might as well just give them the crappiest password I want. And I don't need a good password on a site for looking up a map.
The funny thing to me is attempted obfuscation, like LastPass or something like that. Like, yes, they will generate a hash for you, but you realize that it's a single point of entry for everything else that you have, right? And they've been hacked because everything on the web is hackable. It's just a matter of when. But these libraries, like those playing the home game that don't know how libraries work, it's just code that you haven't read, that someone has told you is safe, that you import and basically shortcut your way into doing things. So instead of writing 200 lines for a function, you write 1 line, maybe even less than 25 characters worth of code, spaces included.
I have a different problem with the code library thing, and I sort of noticed it when my brother was learning programming, and more so now that my child is doing it at school, and that is that no one can actually program anymore.
That's true.
You want to know why?
I know why, because it's all this drag and drop bullshit, and nobody's using anything original anymore because the libraries are there, so they just go, yeah, I'll do that and that and that, and hey, it does what I want it to do.
So I'll disagree with the drag and drop thing, because like that's a good way. That's an entry point into learning how logic works for programming. Like you need to know that certain things connect and not connect, and where in that pipeline your logic fucked up, which is why we still talk to the ducky out loud, because we need to know where our logic fucked up, and visually, if we can see it, that's cool. But where it does fuck up severely is when you don't know how something works, you cannot logic your way through it. When you use libraries that you don't understand, there are going to be issues, especially with dependency, because those libraries will depend on other libraries.
I think as well there's a degree of bitterness there, because I learned BBC Basic, having to go through everything character by character because I can't just look at strings.
Fair enough.
Okay, I can't argue that. I was gonna say, like, Dave, do you slaughter your own cow before you make a steak? Because, you know, like generations before us, before we can just go out to the supermarket and buy like a slab of meat, like, you know. But that's a good point.
The thing is that I could if I had to.
And you go to a butcher who knows how to do it properly and is certified. So
one of the writers for Simon was formerly a butcher.
I've got a copy of Nuth behind me. I'm just looking at it. Should put it on my shelves when engineers talk to me, but I can't get to it because my microphone lead's too short. I'm going for the curated background now. Everybody's got to have books behind them. Dave can't see it. I've just put a set of Nuths behind me. The fourth set of Nuths, The Art of Computer Programming.
I've got the painting of a TARDIS behind my head that you cannot see, and a couple of black wood-lined obelisks.
I can't see the TARDIS, no. I've got
is.
a real Dalek. Oh, yeah. I've got a real Dalek somewhere.
Wait, like full size?
Yeah, proper
Wait,
one.
we really?
Show one. Yes, really.
Proper from the show.
Wait, from the show?
Yes, it was. It was also in an advert for Hamlet Cigars when we're allowed to do TV adverts for cigars.
Oh, that's just too cool.
I got it.
I would have that behind me.
I've got no room, as you can see. It's also in parts, and I don't know where half the parts are. So,
why is it in parts?
Because I can't get it in the door because they made Daleks too wide, and it won't fit in any house door.
Fair.
And there's no way of adjusting it, so it will. So, yeah.
See, I'm the asshole that would like pull off door jams and siding to get that through. Like, no, I am not touching the majesty of this piece. I will fuck up my home in order to move it around.
Do they have any components at all in them?
No. Well, this one didn't.
It's just a shell.
Pertwee era one, probably. I'm guessing it was a Pertwee era, maybe Baker, but yeah.
I think they recycle them because, like, regardless of which Doctor you're watching, Daleks haven't changed. They still move the same. It looks like a dude on a string that's been, like, you know, cloned out. It's like yanking that fucker along.
I think they had a little cart they put them on, a little guy inside walking around. They didn't have wheels. Mine doesn't have wheels on it. Maybe the later ones did. But I think they just put them on a cart as needed. But I got it for British Telecom when we had to do a thing at the Millennium Dome over Millennium. So I was working at British Telecom. I was head of commercial security there, and we're going to do a show about firewalls. So I figured I'd get a Dalek just to put on the stand to attract people. Then they wouldn't let me after I got it, so I kept it.
What? Did they tell you could keep it?
I bought it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I kept it. Bear in mind, Doctor Who was not popular in these days. So that era was when nobody liked Doctor Who anymore and nobody was interested in it. So, yeah.
So I'm guessing pre-2K, right before the 9th came in?
I can't remember when. And I should know. I should be an expert on Doctor Who now, but I'm not. But
there's so many of them.
I think it was the McGann film had just been on, and that was a flop.
Ah, yeah.
So then it was just, I think in 2004 they bought the stupid. Actually, I quite like that new one, the Lancashire one. Dave will tell me his name because I can't remember his name. Eccleston.
Dave won't.
Americans know this better than us.
He was legitimately the only new Doctor persona. from everyone in the past. Like he was different. Like even like my two favorite doctors are 10 and 11, and even those two are like very, very callbacky to certain doctors of the past.
Which are 10 and 11?
Dave Tennant and Matt Smith.
Despise both of those.
Well, I mean, like Dave Tennant also is like he's no longer just 10. He's like also 13 and a half or something like that.
That's a work-related injury because I moderated the Doctor Who Facebook and YouTube sites for 2 years for the BBC. And when you've had to read every single Facebook page from every single 12-year-old fan about David Tennant and Rose, then you will suddenly begin to despise Doctor Who with an absolute furious passion, which I did.
Well, I mean, like, it should have been apparent that something was not going to go well when it was a Facebook gig.
Yeah, and YouTube.
YouTube's a different beast. Like, I don't read comments anymore. Like, I'll occasionally go through if I'm like curious enough, like just to load it up on a video that I've edited, but I generally don't.
Oh, I read comments. I think they're great. Some of them are really creatively abusive.
I still can't go to a YouTube channel and not read the comments first. It's just automatic. I'll just scroll down and read them first and then watch the video because it's just ingrained in my head now. That's what you do.
I think that's like fading too, which is unfortunate because I think it comes from the days of forum readings, like before you even like take the full context of what a picture of someone posted was. Like you read what it was about first. At least it was that way for me.
Yeah,
which is similar, but I've gone to the route of just clicking play now because YouTube comments really like good. they're written by bots now, and for the content that I watch, like alt-right comments on minor things that have nothing to do with politics getting politicized.
I've been engaging in some mild Twitter trolling of late because at the moment it seems to be a huge thing in the UK that the Prime Minister said Happy Muslim Celebration Day to everybody, but didn't say Happy Palm Sunday Day to everyone. And all these people are like outraged about it because, you know, it matters or whatever. And the line I've been running with is, so how did you celebrate Palm Sunday?
You can't say that when I'm pouring an almond milk. That makes me look bad.
I mean, I'm sipping a whiskey right now.
I can't work out what yours is. It's got the big wooden lid, and that's one of the Northern Scottish ones.
Mine is an odd creature. It's called Legend. She's empty now.
What I thought it was. Okay.
But it's a bourbon, but it's mixed by a Japanese mixer. So it's got very, very smooth. I'm trying to remember the pretentious word for this.
Smells of horse saddle.
Yeah. I'm catching notes of alcohol.
Yeah.
It's just really, really smooth, light on the tongue,
notes.
but just gives you that oomph of what a bourbon is supposed to. Oomph.
Yeah. We're not allowed to buy bourbon. I'm in Canada.
Yeah.
No. You're not allowed to buy American bourbon.
Nothing. No, that's true.
Just get the Kentucky wheat up there.
Where's that place?
Doesn't it?
Where's that place in London where the pub is in the middle of the roundabout? Is it Elephant and Castle?
Elephant and Castle, yeah.
There is such a thing.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's a really busy roundabout as well. And it's it's quite a popular, well-known pub. And how there aren't more deaths there, I have no idea. It's crazy. Have you been?
I've come to find out that a lot of our statistics are...
Yeah, that's true.
You can't report on the things that...
I used to drive around London in my old Land Rover before SUVs were a thing. So before anybody really ever drove in four-wheel drive vehicles. But I had a 60s Land Rover that I used to drive around London in. And I used to make the news every about 4 weeks by breaking down on one of the major arteries. That was in the traffic news a lot. It was great.
My dad used to, if we were driving anywhere, he used to drive up and down the country. He used to do like 1,000 miles a week easy. And if we were going anywhere on a long journey, he would call the local radio stations on the way and call in fake traffic incidents. And then he'd be like, that road will be nice and clear now.
That's kind of genius.
That is insanely smart.
Yeah. Shame you can't do that anymore.
Did you see that guy who rigged the Google traffic thing by putting all the phones, like several hundred phones in a car all logged into different accounts and drove it really, really slowly along that main road, and it showed up as a congested road, and there was actually nobody there.
Well, that was a little bit more
like
altruistic than what your father did, because what your father did was both immediate and self-serving, which as an American, we love. But what that guy was doing was a public service. Like he's driving slowly. Like it's not helping him. It's helping everyone else that wants to go in that road, that wants to try to brave it.
I don't get why he was doing it, because that sounds like a lot of planning.
I think it was just to mess with the Google traffic map thing.
As a
that was all.
An absolute favorite Briton of mine has once said, "Some men just want to watch the world burn." Okay, so
how we're watching it burn, it's not as good.
Yeah. I changed my mind now.
I have a question for the
Bring
both
the fire
of
brigade.
That
Both of yous.
that came up yesterday for me. On a video that I'm editing, I had to go back to some of Simon's older videos, and it's very apparent to me that he doesn't have the same accent he used to have. He used to actually sound a lot more British. This preface goes into how dirty is why am I forgetting? Michael Caine. How dirty is his accent? Because apparently he said himself that like his is not a great accent, but as an American, it sounds very posh. To me.
No, that's lower. That's pure working Cockney.
Really? Like he sounds more posh than Christian Bale, and Christian Bale is what I would consider like the dude that dug up coal in someone's backyard.
I'll let Dave speak. He's better at listening than I am.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like in Cockney. Well, maybe not anymore, but that's the Cockney accent.
Michael Caine or
plugging something. There we go.
Christian Bale. Because they don't sound the same to me.
I don't know what Christian Bale sounds like.
I'm
an American.
I can't place him.
Every movie he's done, he's not used it. But when you hear him in an interview, you're like, whoa, mate, what coal factory did you walk out of at in 1920?
I was sure he was an American. Oh, well.
Just like Gillian Anderson. I did not know she was British until I saw her interview. I'm like, how are you a very hot 60-year-old right now? Yeah, you were hot well before that, but you were a 10. You're like 30.
Talking of old things,
Old. Careful.
What technology do you think was really before its time?
You had to do this.